The overnights are in for Doctor Who, and also the consolidated numbers from the previous week, as well as the preliminary ratings for Batwoman, which will be subject to change. Let's get into it all. Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Let's just get straight into the consolidated numbers for the previous week of Doctor Who. My boy Roman, who does my facts and figures for me, he predicted a 4.95 million. And he was absolutely on the money. This is really bad news for the show, because it is the second week in a row that has drawn in a sub 5 million viewership. And you see from the thumbnail, you see from the title, last night's episode posted the lowest overnights of the season so far. This is horrific because, number one, it was the first part of the two-part season finale, so really you're hoping for a decent pop in viewership here to take you to the end of the season. And for about the last 4 weeks, literally for the last 4 episodes at the end of the season, so the last 2 weeks, they've really been pushing the two-part finale on various sources of media. On top of that, last night's episode I thought was pretty good. In as much as it felt like some decent sci-fi, it felt more in that sort of term, like you're more on an adventure at last. But I did stress that the show was, and it did feel as if it came down when the Doctor and the companions were there. I just don't believe in this group of people whatsoever. And it was a shame, because there was some really good stuff with the Lone Cyberman, who isn't actually a lone Cyberman. But there was some really good stuff with the lone Cyberman, and you had Sebastian from Game of Thrones. And you had that little interest with the link between this and Gallifrey. My God, my brain nearly went dead then. I've had a lot of brain cells die today. I watched Batwoman. And also, we had the little cameo from the Master at the end, and this intriguing little story about this sort of cycle going on with this person in the 1920s. We need to kind of solve the mysteries of that. I've not known Tribunal to actually stick a landing. So I don't have massive amounts of hope for next week. I do think it's going to be a bit of a cluster. I haven't heard the rumours, but somebody said to me, if the rumours are true, then next week's episode is going to be horrific. We'll see. I've got to give it a chance. I've got to give it my own opinion. So, okay. So with that said, what were the overnights last night? Well, the lowest to date has been 3.81, which came on season 7, episode 7, I should say. Last night, 3.71. Oh, that is 100,000 lower than the lowest to date. And on that episode, it didn't go above 5 million on the consolidated. Now, I think word will spread. Not much, not far, not wide. But I do think some word will spread that last night's episode wasn't that bad. It was actually a pretty good episode. And so I do expect the consolidated to be slightly better. And by slightly better, I'm going to predict 1.2, 1.25 million, which is slightly higher than normal. I think this is going to go to a 3.96, but I think it's going to be 3 in a row sub 5 million, which isn't going to be good. That said, it's so unpredictable, the ratings right now. And when I tweeted out earlier today that it had posted the lowest of the season so far without giving the number away, somebody replied to that thread, and they did say something which I thought was really astute. And they said, it's a shame they used up their good faith and now no one, inverted commas, will see a good episode. And I think that is very astute because, unfortunately, leading up to this episode, which again, I stress, I thought was pretty good, you got episode 8, which was dull as dish. You know, it was boring and they had such a little story to tell and they had 45 minutes to tell it in. So when the Lone Cyberman came into it, yeah, it got a lot better when that started kicking off. Yes, the ancillary cast did a good job and I was more interested in them than I was Dr. Woke and companions. But there was just not enough story to spread it out. So it was, for the most part, pretty dull. And then... Jesus Christ. Don't even get me started on the other stuff. Don't even get me started. Because since literally episode 2, the show to me has just been dreadful. It's been dreadful from episode 2, and it was pretty dreadful up until episode 7. Episode 8, alright. And then episode 9, pretty good. But the good faith that the person mentioned in the tweet, it's being eroded. And just looking at it comparative to its last season, to Whittaker's last season, her lowest consolidated 6.24 million. Ow! And look, she's only ever... Her lowest 6.24. She's only ever beaten that once this season, which was the season premiere. And that hasn't even come close. That's 300,000 plus away. And then just not even close. So, this show is in a lot of trouble. It's in a lot of trouble. And Whittaker and Chibs have confirmed they're coming back for season 3. And I think it's more out of stubbornness than anything. I think the only reason why Whittaker's been given a 3rd season is the BBC can't be seen to pull the plug on Whittaker and her tenure being seen as a failure. She's got to have 3 seasons, like at least Capaldi did. That is my rationale. That is why I think they're doing this. And knowing the way that Chibs is and has provided stories throughout the course of the season, lecturing, boring, monstrosities of stories, I could quite easily see him saying, well, this is our 3rd season and out, so let's just go overdrive. We don't need to pander to anyone. We've already got it in the bag. Let's just... It wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me. But if the BBC had any sense, and the BBC doesn't have any sense, the BBC's currently run by a bunch of far-left extremists. If the BBC had any sense, they would recast and they would get another showrunner on board. But, as I said, they don't, so expect further drops. And when she gets her 3rd season, I honestly think she's going to be posting lowest rating after lowest rating after lowest rating. The one she's got to beat to be at an all-time low is 4.73. If she can't beat 4.73, which was Capaldi's lowest rating, and maybe even his only one sub 5 million in consolidated, I'll have to go check that, then she will have all the records of lowest and worst. And God bless her for it. So, that's Doctor Who dealt with. Let's deal with the Woman of the Bat. Last night's episode was a joke. An absolute joke. Now, do take into consideration that these are estimates. These are the fast affiliate ratings, not final numbers. So there will be some adjustment along the line. What the adjustment will be, who knows? Because the Grammys episode, the one that came up against the Grammys on the 11th, episode 11, that actually lost over 300, I think 300,000 viewers, pretty much. They took off. And last week, I think it was up at 8.59 initially. I have to go back and check. So only lost, 10, 20,000 viewers. But this week, they have adjusted it down again. So this is currently showing us the 3rd worst rating of the season. The Grammys one might be a slight anomaly then. But look, when you got the 7.91, then you've got, well, 7.91, then 0.848, 0.816. It's pretty official now that the show since Christmas has lost over 200,000 viewers. 200,000 viewers during the Christmas break were just like, nah, done. Absolutely done. And, oh, God, after the... I'm laughing because the show's not even cohesive. It doesn't make any sense. It is literally, we need these people to be here in this scene. The scene happens. There's no logic of how they get there. There's no cohesiveness. There's no consistency. It's an absolute joke. It's an absolute mess. And last night's episode was it was embarrassing and sleazy and dirty to watch, because all last night's episode wanted to do was get Batwoman and Sophie together while everybody seemed to be perfect. She just seemed like a trophy. Sophie the Trophy, I dubbed her in the review. It was horrific. And what's even funnier is there's no chemistry between any of the cast anyway. None. None of the cast. I mean, it's funny because when you see backstage vignettes, when they're talking about something, they seem to have a little bit of energy and something about them, their personality. And then when they're acting as these larger-than-life characters, they've got nothing. Zilch chemistry, nothing whatsoever. Ah, God, there's 9 episodes to go. My sanity with this show is waning. Absolutely waning. I was so mad watching last night's episode. And we are now, folks, into the 9 episodes that they got to make after they got the full season nod. So goodness knows the level of writing. Goodness knows the level of production with these. I'm just going to stop there. There's no point. There's no point. This show was never created to be good. This show was never intended to entertain people. It was never created with good faith in mind. This show has been created with bad faith to push an agenda, and they're doing it in a horrendous way because the people, not the proclivity, but the people who are constructing this are disgusting. Disgusting. And they've shown it time and time again. Oh, so it's wonderful to see abject failure in the form of viewing figures. This angers me the most because this is just trash. And this can burn, and I don't give a toss. But I do love my Doctor Who. I'm thinking about doing a video. It could be a long video, but I'm thinking about doing a video where I pick my best moments from each Doctor. And I just want to kind of explain why I like it briefly, and then kind of play the clip. So it will be a completely demonetized video. I won't even be looking to monetize it, because I actually want to have the clips to support what I'm saying. If you'd like to see something like that, just, stick a thumbs up, stick a comment, do something to make me know, and I'll do it. But I do care about this show, and I don't want this show to get cancelled. And it just annoys me of how fun that it used to be, and how much I used to be excited to tune in, just so, just because it was a fun bit of escapism to get lost in. And now it's just a lecturing piece of drivel with a cast of characters that have no chemistry and don't feel like the Doctor and don't feel like a companion. Whatever. So there we go. I think I'm just kind of going into therapy now, so I better just start. I'm going to lie back on the couch and just talk to you about it all. It all started when Whittaker got cat now. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links, they're in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.